Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Planescape Torment with me, BringItDon. So I spawned here in the lower ward again, and there's a shadow coming right at me. Last time they beat me pretty bad, but I was also by myself in the player's maze, so we'll try it again. That's lame. Hate when it saves versus spells. Let's do it again. I guess I'm also not wearing... I need this, right? Because this stops shadows from popping up if I understand it correctly. Let's see. Yeah, if it's carried by any of your party members, it acts as ward against shadows. Oh, shadows will find it more difficult to harm you while the token is carried. Yeah, we'll just keep it equipped.
I'm gone.
Anyway, we're told to speak to Lenny by that Byron Pickett guy, so let's give him a holler real quick. You see a feral-looking young man in shoddy clothes. His eyes dart about as he scans his surroundings. He notices your approach and begins eyeing you warily. Greetings. He looks you up and down, then glances about. Returning his attention to you, he gives you a wicked grin. You best have a good reason for disturbing Lenny, Burke. Yeah, I had some questions. He laughs at you. I ain't no tout. If you've got questions, go find one. His smile broadens. You best push off before I have to bleed you. What if I told you Byron Pickett sent me? He stops smiling and examines you for a while. His eyes linger on your scars, and he swallows slightly. After a moment, a frown settles on his face and he appears to be nervous. Pickett sent you. Why? He said you could answer some questions. He frowns. What questions? You notice he looks rather tense. You teach me to be a thief. I've had a skull stolen from me and I want it back. Do you know who would do such a thing?
Updated my journal.
He hesitates for a moment, then relaxes slightly. You get the impression that he expected you to ask about something else. He smiles at you. Stolen skull, huh? Well, that'd be the work of Lothar's boys, not me. I've heard of Lothar. I just need to find him. Now I don't want that I want to be the one to answer that question. He glares at you for a while and shrugs. Ruined building just south of the siege tower. You can't miss it. He smiles evilly again. What can you tell me about this ward? Looks around and shrugs. This is the lower ward, home of the common people. Life here isn't as desperate as it is in the hive, but not as good as it is in the clerk's ward. He looks around again. Other than that, there's not much to be said. Oh yeah, tell me about Clerk's Ward. I don't think we've asked about Clerk's Ward before. He smiles. The name says it all, Burke. Clerks, clerks, and more clerks. If you want to push some papers around, or have papers pushed at you, it's the place to go. He shrugs. Nothing else to say about it. I think you normally get experience when you change classes. Should I?
Alright.
Yeah, whatever. Alright, so there's another group of people up here. Let's go talk to them, and then, we'll probably go get our skull back.
Use them for whatever you will. They're right over here. Step right up.
Darren and Trist.
Him. I'll take him.
You see a boisterous auctioneer. He is very animated and does a lot of shouting, yelling, and stomping. Seems to have a tendency toward melodrama and makes a lot of strange facial expressions as he waves his arms. Greetings. He glances at you and motions to the crowd that he's taking a break. Well, 1,000 greetings do I bestow on you, sir. He does a double take when he notices your scars. You know, I take one look at you with my discerning eye, and I see a man in the market for some healing charms. Do you have any charms? He gives you a shocked look and gestures grandly at himself. Do I, Duran, have any charms? He pauses for effect. No, sir, I do not. However, don't let that fact discourage you. I have plenty of other items for sale. He points to the rear of the auction block where a group of people stands in chains. You sell slaves? He shakes his head. No, sir. These are indentured servants, not slaves. For the most part, they are guilty of minor crimes. The proceeds from their sale goes toward paying their debt to the city. After their term of servitude, they will be free citizens once again. Yeah, whatever, I don't really care. I mean, it doesn't sound, I mean, it does sound like slavery. Like using prisoners as slaves. It still sounds like slavery to me. He gives you a bright smile. I don't concern myself with such thoughts. My task is to sell their contracts as given by the courts of Sigil. He lowers his voice as he leans in closer. And collect a percentage for my efforts, you understand. He straightens. You said they were guilty of crimes. What crimes did they commit? He shrugs his shoulders in an exaggerated way. I don't know for certain, but I would guess theft, assault, or not being able to pay their debts. Those are the most common transgressions. Alright, I have some questions. He shakes his head. Little time for such wigwag, friend. There's dealing to be done. Speak quick. Who are you? Duran's the name, friend. Can it be you have not heard of me? I'm wounded. Verily I am. He smiles wider at the feigned wound. No one finer or more well known for bringing people who want people a little closer together. He points to the rear of the auction block where a group of people stand in chains. Do you be wanting someone, friend? Other questions. What can you tell me about this ward? He gestures grandly about him. This, sir, is the lower ward, home of the common people and little else of interest. The only items worth mentioning would be the foundry, the open-air market, and the siege tower. Well, tell me about the foundry. He opens his arms and looks toward the sky. A workshop of all creation, where steel and a person's soul is shaped into works of art, and creation itself can be changed within its walls. He returns his gaze to you. So say the godsmen. The godsmen? He smiles. A noble faction, all can become gods if they simply learn enough during their lifetimes, that they grow, develop, and become better spirits. Can you think of a nobler faction? Alright, tell me about the siege tower. A true mystery, even to me. It simply appeared one day. No one can gain entry, and nothing has ever left it. Tell me about the open-air market. The market lies south of here and caters to nearly every need. I recommend you visit it. We will. So he has to say about Lothar. I'm looking for someone named Lothar, or the Master of the Bones. He gives you a look of mock concern. It would be a dangerous thing I'd be saying if I told you, friend. I have no wish to put you in jeopardy. I happen to like danger. Imperil me. He lets out a boisterous laugh. Very well, friend. Lothar is the master, the lord, of the famous Bones of the Night, the library where the dead themselves act as his repositories of arcane lore. All the dead of Sigil and the plains whisper secrets to him within his salon of skulls. Where can I find this place? Try south and east of the market section of the ward. You might come across a wrecked building, and you might find a ladder of bones that leads down, and it could be that ladder will lead you to the salon of skulls. Alright, let's talk to Tristan real quick.
How much?
You see a young woman who is trying to get your attention. She's wearing shoddy clothes, but her demeanor is one of elegance, unlike that of the people who surround her. Upon closer inspection, you notice that her skin is clean and smooth, lacking the yellow tint of the inhabitants of this ward. She notices your approach and smiles at you. Greetings. One moment. I thank the powers that you noticed me. I am in need of the services of a mercenary. She pauses and examines you more carefully. If appearances are any indication, you would seem to be such an individual. Appearances can be deceptive. A look of concern crosses her face. Yes, Cutter. Forgive me. I did not mean to offend you. I am in a situation of, well, desperation. I've exhausted all resources available to me in order to remedy my situation, but... what exactly is it that you want of me? She nods to you. The heart of the matter is that I am to be sold into slavery for a crime I did not commit. I am in need of a champion, someone who will help me prove my innocence and free me from this fate. She pauses and looks at you expectantly. Well, tell me exactly what's going on. She thinks for a moment. This is long in the telling, Cutter. Please bear with me. Great. Alright, go on. She sighs as she begins her tale. My husband died recently and left me his business. I am not business-oriented, so I decided to sell. Not long afterward, I was contacted by a lender saying a loan on the business had not been paid. She pauses to gather her thoughts. Go on. I examined all the documents my husband kept and found that there had indeed been a loan taken, but it had just recently been paid in full. I explained this to the lender, and a few days later, he asked for a copy of the document. It was nowhere to be found. She looks concerned and pauses to think. And go on. Well, when I could not prove that the loan was paid, the lender took me before the court. My monies were taken and applied to the balance owed. Since it did not pay off the loan, I am to be sold on the block to try and recover the remaining amount due. She gives you a forlorn look. I don't understand. Why sell you into slavery? She shrugs. It serves many purposes. First, it keeps the prisons relatively clear of all but the vilest criminals. Second, the sale of the convicted is used to pay for any damages, costs, or fees involved in the case. Finally, the convicted will serve a sentence from which they are eventually released, supposedly as better citizens. Well, this is all fascinating, but I don't see how I can help you. I need someone to find the missing document, the one that proves the loan was paid. Or if you could purchase my contract, I could pay you back. She gives you a pleading look. I can't spend the next 5 years of my life in this ward, Cutter. It will kill me. Surely you've noticed the illness shared by all who live here. Yes, the yellow skin and coughing. She nods her head. Yes, Cutter. Please, can you find it in your heart to help me? She looks at you nervously. Please. I don't know what this means. You've been found guilty in a court of law, and only the law can help you. So, do I need to... Is that saying that I'm going to help her? A look of concern crosses her face. Surely you realize that even the law can err at times, Cutter. If an innocent were to suffer due to such an error, it would be a terrible miscarriage of justice. She appears desperate now. Please don't leave me to this fate. Yes, I'll help you. I have some questions, though. She nods her head eagerly. Ask anything, Cutter. What's the lender's name? I know his name well, Cutter. After all I've been through, I will not likely forget it. She gets a faraway look and then shudders for a moment. Byron Pickett is his name. She pauses for a moment, and his associate may be someone named Lenny. Who is this Lenny? She thinks for a moment. There was a small, fair-looking man who came to court a few times. He would sit behind Pickett and whisper to him occasionally. She pauses and looks lost in thought. Go on. She frowns. Remember him because he always seemed to be uncomfortable in his clothes. He'd pick at them as if they were new, as if he were not used to wearing them. She pauses again. On one such occasion, Pickett told him to sit still and stop fidgeting. He called him Lenny. Where can I find Lenny? She thinks for a moment. I already know where I can find Lenny. And I already know where I can find Byron. Who do I talk to about your contract? Probably Duran. That'd be Duran the auctioneer. He's usually over there on the block. She points to the front of the platform. Let's see. Could you have misplaced a loan document? She shakes her head. No, Cutter. I am a very meticulous person. I kept the document in a locked box in my husband's study. It never left that room. Do you think the loan document could have been stolen? She shrugs. I don't know. Why would anyone steal that, yet leave other valuables be? It makes little sense to me. Well, maybe the lender stole the document so that you'd pay for the loan twice. She looks back at you in shock. That is a terrible thought. She hesitates and then begins to tap her chin with a finger as she thinks. But also a most ingenious one, Cutter. This Byron Pickett does strike me as a knight of the post. A what? She gives you a quizzical look. A thief or a cheat, Cutter. Such are called knights of the post, or of the cross trade. Have you explained any of this to these courts you spoke of? She nods her head. Oh yes, Cutter. I've explained my situation to many. You're the first to be willing to help me. She smiles warmly at you. Okay, well, as much as I'd like to start this quest, I do want to go get the skull back so he doesn't fall behind in levels. So we're gonna head to the to Lothar's place. The Master of the Bones, and see what he has to say. Whatever purpose these barrels once served, they are now just flotsam strewn about the room.
All right.
This appears to be a ladder constructed from the bones of many creatures. Alright, let's go down. Sorry, I just kicked my chair. Shelf of skulls. Thank the powers you're here, Chief. Get me out of here. What are you doing up there? This is where rat vermin nicked me and brought me here. Come on, boss. We gotta get out of here. This place is bad news. Why don't you just float down? I can't. I've tried. Come on, get me down before... A flash of light and smoke blinds you for a moment, and a withered old man stands before you. Have we visitors, Skull? Oh no. Mort whispers furiously at you. Do not offend this blood boss. He'll deadbook you faster than you can spit. The old man ignores Mort. Greetings, traveler. Who might you be to enter Lothar's humble salon without invitation? My pardon, sir, but you seem to have something that belongs to me. Ah, yes. What might that be? My friend Morte wound up on your shelf. You want the chattering skull with half the grace and manners of any ordinary creature? Give me a greater skull in return if you wish it back, Lothar replies. I do not need to bargain for something that is already mine. He was never yours, or anyone's to begin with. Your ignorance is astonishing. You truly know very little about... Well, very little. Jeez. Alright. That's a very mean thing to say. Now, fetch me another skull to replace him, or say farewell to your friend. Fine then. How do I get another skull that's worth what he's worth? Move aside the divan in the center of the room, and pass through the portal in the eastern wall of the chambers below to the catacombs. The portal will remain active for your return. In the catacombs, many skulls. One of great value lies within the interred crypts of the Dustmen, beyond the drowned nations. Bring that skull to me, as my were-rat minions have failed to do, and I will see to it that your friend is returned to you. Perhaps I shall even answer some questions for you. Is he talking about my tomb? Because the only tomb in the drowned nations was the Nameless One's tomb. I've been to the tomb you speak of. It is empty.
Updated my journal.
What is the meaning of this? The tomb was so well trapped, so defended from scrying magics, that it was a challenge even for me. There must be some explanation for this, and... He draws out his words angrily and slowly. You will provide it to me. Go through the portal in the chambers below and seek the answer. It was my own tomb. Your tomb. Your tomb. He eyes you carefully. We shall investigate this more carefully. Fetch me another skull then, as you seem attached to yours, and we shall see what answers I can provide. Our agreement shall be as before. Do not try to deceive me with just any bone either. I am something of a connoisseur. Return when you have something of value to me. Very well. Farewell.
Updated my journal.
Hey, someone leveled up. Yay. I haven't really pickpocketed anybody, have I? Maybe we should try. Anyway, someone has a skull in their inventory, right? Yeah, we have Sogos. Maybe that'll work? You've returned, I see. And do you have a skull for me? I have the skull of Soko, the were-rat Dustman missionary. Lothar takes the head of Sogo from you and examines it carefully, checking the teeth. A Dustman missionary and spy, huh? This will be satisfactory. His fingers twist through an arcane gesture. Your friend will be waiting for you above ground, where you came in. Have your answers from me. I have many questions. Keep it quick, Scarred One. I cannot tarry all day. Why am I immortal?
Updated my journal.
Your mortality, your soul if you will, that which allows you to live and die, is gone from you. It is stripped from you by magical means, by the Night Hag Ravel Puzzle Well. Your mortality is the key to your existence. When you find it, you will find your answers. What? I feel like he just gave me the plot of the game. Just because I traded him a skull. This is the first time we've heard about Ravel Puzzle Well. Tell me about this Ravel. Ravel Puzzle Well is an enigma, even among the Night Hags. Some would call her barmy, others would say she plays a deeper game than any can see through. She's evil through and through, making the fiends you'll see in the area seem positively divine when compared to her. She's out of the reach of men now, thank the powers, for she was mazed by the Lady of Pain. Mazed? How do I find her? Mazes are like pocket dimensions, small places between places. To reach one, you need to find a portal and a key. I do not know where the door or the key are. Perhaps you should seek some of your old acquaintances. You have certainly left a trail of them behind. They will find you, no doubt. Pray they mean you well. Perhaps you should visit the Civic Fest Hall. They have many answers there. What did Ravel do?
Updated my journal.
She was a maker of toys and puzzles, a solver of problems that didn't need solving. She decided that Sigil, the cage, was the largest puzzle box of all, and set herself to undo it, to let in the armies of fiends at her disposal, no doubt, to upset the balance of the city and turn the entire burg into a charnel house. Pray to any power you hold dear, with thanks, she did not succeed. I'll find her then, and force her to return my mortality. Farewell. More questions answered. Why have I lost my memory? It is a side effect of losing your mortality. I have lost my mortality. What do you mean? Alright, we've already done that. Alright, talked about Ravel. More questions. I just wanted to talk to you some more. He stares at you coolly, making a small motion, and you find yourself gone. Wait a minute. Oh, hey, we got Morte back. Do I need to talk to Morte? I think there's something I need to talk to Morte about.
Hey, what's eating you, Chief?
I can't say anything about him traveling with me. What do you know about the Night Hag Ravel? Well, she's a Night Hag, and she was definitely barmy enough to make you immortal of all people. I mean, she could have chosen me. Morte rolls his eyes. Still, anyone addled enough to lock blades with the Lady of Pain isn't someone we really want to find. How'd you die, Morte? Alright, so he doesn't know that. Can I talk to him about Night Hag?
Sure will.
Aye. What is it you want then?
Have you heard of a Night Hag called Ravel Puzzlewell? At the mention of the name, Anna spits 3 times and makes a semicircle over her heart. Hissed. Are you daft? Don't be mentioning her name if you value your life. Why? She's the evilest of the Grey Ladies, she is. Anna's voice drops to almost a whisper, as if afraid of being overheard. Filthy, mean, and with more power to toss around than some powers. It said she's all a brambles, though, through and through. Even her heart. It's said you can never kill her, because her body's like a tree. You lop off one limb, and there's always another still growing somewhere else across the plains. You speak as if she's still alive. Of course she is. She has to be. Anna's voice drops again. How would he kill a thing such as her? That's why the lady had to maze her, so it said. Okay. That's interesting. But Decon can't... Yeah, I can't talk to Decon about Ravel, it seems. So I'm interested to see what he has to say about it. Alright, and I think there's something else I can talk to...
Alright.
No, he looks to be gone. Interesting. The strangely shaped skull emits a high-pitched chitter before it speaks to you. Can I help you? Who are you? I'm Goat's Comb. I was a were-rat. Were-rat? How many were-beasts are there, anyway? Oh, a great number. Ravens, wolves, bears, badgers, even crocodiles. It's like all the animals in the beastlands have a lycanthropic counterpart. It's quite interesting, really. What were-rats are around here? There's Mantwalk and his band. I made him, and what does he do? Goes and sells me to Lothar. That's okay, though. I spilled all his secrets to the boss. Mantwalk may think he's safe, but Lothar knows everything. What can you tell me about Mantwalk? That sodding hedge wizard, that bubber, I made him what he is today. Years ago, when he was just a stinking biped, I found him and made his leg a snack. Tasted like pickled meat. I was drunk for days. Then he shows up, then he gets some fancy book, and I'm yesterday's trash and a decoration on a shelf. Bastard. Do you know any of his secrets? His secret is that he works for both Lothar and Many as One, the Cranium Rat hive mind. I don't know what he's planning, but it doesn't matter, because I told Lothar all of it anyway. So Mantwalk was the, There's another question. Yeah, how can I kill him? Killing Lycanthrope is easy. Just find a silver or magic weapon and stick him. Normal weapons don't work so well, though. Was the time I got folks to shoot me full of arrows. Didn't do nothing but sting. I look like a porcupine. Alright, how did you get here? It's embarrassing. I was in rat form looking for some food at the smoldering corpse when... Let's just say I never expected a serving wench to have a silver fork. Mantwalk found me twitching, and I wound up here. What can you tell me of the other skulls here? They're almost judgmental, just because they were mostly human skulls. They think they're somehow better than me. I hate them. You must like Lothar then, right? Goatscomb's skull falls entirely silent. If it had eyes, you're sure they'd be rolling around in terror. Go away, the skull whispers. It refuses to speak to you.
Done.
Alright, let's talk to more. It's a dustless shelf with an empty space, skull-sized, between two grinning skulls. Leave it alone. Alright, this skull's voice is low and raspy, the sound of flint and steel. I think I've seen you before, stranger. Where have you seen me? Cursed. Gate Town into Carcery. Cursed. Gate Town. Carcery. What, are you clueless? That's a gate town on the rim of the Outlands. The doorway to the prison plane of Carcery. That's funny, like incarcerate. It's a place of backstabbers and traitors, and it's full of schemes as a Betezu's undergarments. Be right next door to the Carcery's apt to change a burg's nature. I wouldn't be surprised if the town were about to slide over. Slide over? What do you mean? When a gate town's belief get too much like the plane it borders, the force of that belief is enough to make its bordering plane swallow it whole. Happens all the time, at least when the anarchists are involved. He speaks his last word with a kind of grim pride. Tell me about the anarchists. We are a secret society, cells of members who work alone or through directives passed through the network of information, and leaders who remain hidden. Our goal is to tear down the proper structure, to free people from the lies of politicians and powers, to let all lead their own lives of their own volition. We worked in secrecy, and changed our routines constantly to avoid infiltration. My time was decades ago, and so all the secrets I knew are no longer valid, except for the faces I can remember. And even those must have changed by now. You sound like a paranoid bunch. If the society you belong to thrived on intrigue, infiltration, and the hatred of established powermongers, you'd be careful too. It's not paranoia when they really are out to get you. In our line of belief, someone involved in a triple cross is an amateur. The skull regards you evenly for a moment. I think I'm done speaking with you. Farewell. Hold on, I'm not done. What was I doing there? What were you doing there? You're babbling something about some Burke trying to kill you and wandering into all the wrong places. Well, you were obviously barmy and all, so me and some of my friends rolled you, stuck a shiv in you, and divvied up your stuff. It was right after that I was betrayed, but not before I hid some of that stuff. Yeah, where is it? I ain't telling. Maybe someday I'll get a body back and go for it myself, and maybe I won't. But right now, it gives me great joy to see you wondering. Good luck finding it. The skull falls silent, and no amount of cajoling can convince it to speak again. How did you get here? Betrayal. I should have expected it, given who I am. Or rather, who I was. Who were you? Me? I'm Grimscalp. Used to be an anarchist, one of the Revolutionary League. We had secrets in cells. We were going to topple the nature of the plane so everyone could live in freedom. We had the dark on some of the factols and were ready to make a move. But then we were betrayed by another faction. I wound up dead, and Lothar wound up collecting me for my secrets. Good thing most of them are out of date by now. There ain't no resisting Lothar's charms. Well, tell me about Lothar. I spilled the dark of many secrets, but that's not one I'm willing to sacrifice. I've seen horrors in Lothar's hand that would put the Harmonium's rigid rules to shame. He knows my secrets far better than I know his, and I'll be darned if I'm giving them up to anyone. Even you. Especially you. What can you tell me of the other skulls? Them? They're all tools, though they do not know it. Their dreams are small and personal. They do not see a larger picture in their schemings. They do not see beyond themselves. They are worthless. I do not speak to them. Okay.
All right.
This skull speaks in a deep voice and a jocular tone. Have you come to learn of truth? I have truth aplenty. Tell me of yourself. I am Stern, one of the great practitioners of personal peace through intensive redirection of hostilities. A hiss escapes this skull's teeth. You mean you're a wizard, an assassin, and a prisoner. However you choose to define it, Grimscalp. Okay. Stern turns his attention back to you. I was the best of the lot, so it said. And how did you wind up here? Funny you should mention that. I had a black book given to me in order that I might puzzle out its secrets. I unlocked its power for a terrible price, one I'd gladly pay again, and sharpened my edge considerably. Little did I realize that the book would betray me to another, a mewling rat thing that overwhelmed me in a wave of rodents and tore the flesh from my living bones. The rat went through a series of disciples, each of them betrayed by the book, until it wound up in the possession of the Ratman Mantwalk. If you find this book, accept its power and be rid of it before you suffer the same fate. Okay. My thanks. What can you tell me of Lothar?
Updated my journal.
What can I tell you of Lothar? I'll tell you nothing. Even his bare existence is better than the oblivion he promises, should I speak his secrets. You can tell me. You get the distinct impression Stern Skull was sneering at you. And again, merely your friendship? Bah. There's nothing you can offer me. No service nor item that will impel me to betray Lothar to you. Be gone. A few more questions, I will not. Skull turns his attention inward, and you can feel the force of its personality vanish. What can you tell me of the other skulls here? Of the skulls that will speak to you, I can offer no good words. Their experiences have not been shared with me. Indeed, we have spoken precious little until your arrival. Perhaps, it says, in a smirk in its voice, there's something special about your very presence. Okay.
I'm gone.
The skull exhales languorously, and speaks in a sultry voice. Why do you disturb my rest? There has been so much happening of late, and while I welcome the sensation, I must confess to desiring the sense of quiet. Tell me of yourself. About yourself. I was Ocean Before the Storm, a sensate. Now, alas, I am merely decoration. A sensate? What's that? A sensate is a member of the Society of Sensation, one of the factions of Sigil, located in the Civic Fest Hall and the Clerk's Ward, which holds that the universe can be understood and manipulated only through the senses, and therefore we should accumulate as many varied experiences as possible. Sounds like a Slaanesh cult. I believe I've reached the quota on sitting on a dusty shelf. My boredom threshold is low. Can I do anything for you? No, but you're kind to ask. Once I threw myself off the shelf and shattered. Next thing I knew, I was back on the shelf, and we were all glued here. When Lothar tires of me, he'll dispose of me. What are you doing here? Why, I sit on the shelf and gather dust until one of Lothar's rat minions takes it into his head that I need brushing. I answer questions for Lothar, and that is the extent of this miserable existence. Jeez. No, I meant, how did you get here? It's a long story and has to do with Ravel Puzzlewell, the Night Hag. Would you like to hear the whole story? Yeah. Very well. I was working in the Civic Fest Hall, the headquarters of the Sensates and the Sensoriums. Ravel Puzzlewell, may the powers curse her black soul, had been coming there to find answers to riddles she had encountered. She was a masterful solver of puzzles. Those that left our best minds baffled were but gauze to the force of her reason. Yet she had found difficulties that required outside answers. I heard that she was there to unlock the secrets of Sigil itself. Go on. Horribly ugly she was, taking no pains to use her magic to disguise her form, as I've heard she does, or rather did from time to time, and that fiendish exterior frightened off many a potential factioneer. Still, I had to ask her what she was about, and whether she could teach me what she knew. That sounds like it could have been a mistake. It was. She offered me a bargain, for she dwelt and dealt in riddles. If she were to answer my question, I must agree to answer one of hers. If I missed the answer, my life was hers. I agreed. She told me she intended to unlock the puzzle of the cage, to open it to all who wished to enter. Powers, fiends, celestials, modrons, and slatey? Not to mention any interplanar beings who chose not to come along, or who chose to come along. The most important part to her was that all should know that the mystery that had baffled them for so long was unraveled by Ravel. What happened next? She asked her question. I could not answer it, though she assured me the answer was plain as the nose on her face. My fellow sensates found me screaming in the sensorium when they arrived the next morning. I begged them to kill me, and they complied. None even suggested that I relished a new experience, so horrible was it. And here I am. Now I must rest. And what was the question?
Updated my journal.
It was, how does one change the nature of man? I thought hard on her answer and said, with love. She said all people love themselves too much to be changed by something as simple as love. And then I must rest now. In the back of your mind, you seem to see a hook-nosed figure with ebon skin asking you a similar question. You cannot remember your answer. Answer a few more questions. No, I'm gonna talk to you again anyway. What can you tell me about the other skulls on the shelf? Oh, they're nothing to relieve the tedium. You have Goatscomb, the were-rat, Grimscalp, the anarchist, Stern, the old wizardly assassin. I don't know what Stern does, but he's basically evil. Evil. Bah, I'm merely a pragmatist. Pragmatist? Is that why stabbing something in the back so often seems to be the answer you present to problems? Is it not a fine solution? It's always worked for me. Poison and magic work equally as well, I've found. Just before the storm turns her attention back to you. You see, basically evil. And what can you tell me about Lothar? Other than that he's not willing to tell you himself. Since I don't trust these other skulls not to inform on me should I say something out of line, I simply won't say anything. Before you ask, yes, I'm that scared of him. What can he possibly do to you? The skull stares at you, and you get the impression it's shivering. There's a remarkable amount of pain one can feel without nerve endings. Not all pain is physical, and not all emotions mental. Those are sensations I do not care to duplicate. It pauses. The Senate interview is at an end. Farewell. Farewell.
I'm gone.
Alright, so I'm going to quick save real quick. I want to know what he's going to do if I
Aye. Right. Got it.
steal it. Oh, it's just a skull.
All right.
Might as well. Got it.
Just skulls. Oh, that's not exciting.
Done.
Alright, let's go up these stairs, see where this takes us. I'll probably call it an episode.
Ready. Might as well. Got it. Got it.
Done.
Wow, nothing. Alright, well, that's disappointing. Alright, we'll call the episode here. I'm interested. I might go back to the catacombs and look for Mantwalk, because we never found him after we went through, or as we were going through the Warrens of Thought. And I'm interested in that black book that he has, because it's been mentioned several times in this room alone. So I'll probably look for him off camera, and if I find him, that's what we'll pick up next time. If not, we'll pick up probably doing the quest for that girl that's becoming a slave. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hope to see y'all in the next episode.